What happens when a powerful CEO offers 1 million for a night with a mysterious masseur only to uncover a dark family secret that could destroy them both? Watch as trust is shattered, lies unravel, and a forbidden love story unfolds against all odds. This is a tale of betrayal, courage, and the fight for truth you won't want to miss. Please watch, like, share, and comment where you are watching from in the comment section. Today, Amelia was a powerhouse, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, sharp, confident, and always used to getting her way. But lately, something was off. Personal troubles had been eating away at her, and she felt the pressure building, threatening to break her calm exterior. One stressful morning, she picked up her phone and called her best friend Olivia. "Olivia, I'm barely holding it together. I need to get away for a bit somewhere quiet. Can you come pick me up?" Minutes later, Olivia was at Amelia's office. Without saying much, Amelia grabbed her bag, car keys, and phone, and they headed out. Olivia drove them through town to a modest but cozy place called Blissful Spa. It wasn't one of those high-end luxury spots Amelia was used to. But today, she just needed somewhere peaceful, no frills, no pretense. They walked in, and Olivia settled in the waiting area, while Amelia approached the receptionist desk. "Hi, I'd like to book a massage session, please." The receptionist smiled politely but shook her head slightly. "Our official opening time is 8:30 a.m., but the masseur won't arrive until 9:00 a.m. Would you mind waiting a bit?" Amelia's eyes flashed with impatience. As she glanced at her watch, it was 8:15 a.m. "I can wait," she said curtly, and returned to Olivia. They chatted quietly for a few minutes, passing time. Then the spa door slid open, and a young man stepped in. Amelia caught sight of him and paused. He was surprisingly handsome, youthful, with a calm confidence about him. The young man went straight to the receptionist. "Who's my first client today?" She smiled. "That would be you, Miguel." Miguel nodded and headed to prepare the massage room. Amelia, curious, walked back to the receptionist. "So, this is the masseur?" "Yes, ma'am. His name's Miguel." Soon it was Amelia's turn. She entered the massage room, removed her dress, and lay down. Miguel began his work, expertly massaging every tense muscle, from her shoulders down to her waist, easing the knots that had built up from weeks of stress. When he finished, Miguel quietly said, "All done." Amelia sat up, looking at him with a mix of surprise and something else. He hadn't shown the slightest interest in her. No flirtation, no lingering glances, nothing despite her flawless beauty and status. Feeling bold and a little irritated, Amelia looked Miguel in the eye and said, "I'll give you 1 million for a night." Miguel smiled gently. "No, ma'am. I'm not interested." Amelia raised an eyebrow, not used to hearing no. "How about 5 million? Miguel shook his head calmly. 10 million a private hotel room, no one will know. No cameras, no traces. Miguel's smile remained, warm but firm. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm not for sale." Amelia's patience snapped. "You think you're stubborn?" "I'm not used to being denied." Miguel met her gaze steadily. "Why does it hurt you so much that I say no to something I don't want? I am not a commodity to be bought." With that, Miguel left the room and returned to the receptionist for his next client. Amelia and Olivia left Blissful Spa without a word, heading back to the office. That same night, Amelia lay awake in her huge, silent bedroom, the city lights casting faint shadows across the walls. Sleep wouldn't come. Her mind replayed every moment at Blissful Spa, especially Miguel's calm refusal. It was unlike anything she'd ever experienced. She wasn't used to being ignored, much less rejected. The more she thought about it, the more determined she became. How could someone so young and seemingly ordinary hold such quiet strength? She had to see him again. 1 week later, Amelia returned to Blissful Spa, this time alone. She booked a session, quietly becoming the second client on the list. Patiently, she waited for her turn, watching the peaceful atmosphere around her but feeling a restless energy under her calm exterior. Minutes later, Miguel emerged from the back and approached the receptionist. His eyes scanned the waiting area and landed on Amelia, the next client. Quietly, he told the receptionist, "Please let her know to wait. I'm heading out for lunch." Amelia saw Miguel step out and immediately turned to the receptionist. Why didn't Miguel come for me when it was my turn? The receptionist smiled apologetically. I'm so sorry, ma'am. It's his lunch break. He'll be back shortly. Please don't be upset. But Amelia's temper flared. Her voice rose as she began yelling, demanding answers. Not used to being brushed aside, she quickly searched for the spa management contact and made the call. A man answered the phone. Amelia introduced herself, as usual, confident, commanding, and not willing to let this slight go unanswered. Amelia's voice was sharp as she spoke into the phone. Hello, this is Amelia Grant, CEO of Grant Enterprises. I'm currently at Blissful Spa, and I must say, I'm extremely disappointed with how your staff is handling things. There was a brief pause on the other end before a calm, measured voice replied. Miss Grant, I'm David, the spa manager. I apologize for any inconvenience you've experienced. How can I assist you? Amelia didn't lower her tone. Your masseur, Miguel, was scheduled to attend to me just moments ago, yet I was told he left for lunch without notice. This is unacceptable for someone paying for your services. David's voice remained steady, but there was an edge of something else, a subtle caution, almost like he was weighing his words carefully. I understand your frustration, ma'am. Miguel is a valued member of our team, but today he had an urgent personal matter he had to attend to during lunch. Amelia's curiosity piqued instantly. An urgent personal matter? During his shift? David hesitated. Yes, ma'am. If you don't mind waiting just a few more minutes, I assure you he will be back shortly to attend to you personally. Amelia's eyes narrowed, her instincts telling her there was more beneath the surface. David, I don't think you understand. This isn't about just a missed appointment. There's something about Miguel. Something I need to uncover. You'll be hearing from me again. Before David could respond, Amelia ended the call and stared out the spa window into the bustling street, her mind racing. Who was Miguel really? And what urgent matter could pull him away so abruptly, leaving her waiting? She knew one thing: she wasn't done. Not yet. Amelia's mind was racing. She was used to bending the world to her will, but Miguel's calm refusal had ignited a fire she hadn't felt in years. Determined to deal with him, she called David again, this time with a cold, commanding tone. David, I want Miguel fired, immediately. There was a long pause. Finally, David's voice returned, firm but cautious. Ms. Grant, I respect your position, but Miguel isn't just any employee. Losing him would be like shutting down the entire spa. He's invaluable. Our clients come here because of him. Amelia's patience thinned, but she pushed harder. I'm willing to pay 10 times his salary if that's what it takes. Fire him. Bring in someone else. David's tone remained steady, but edged with warning. Miss Grant, Miguel isn't someone you just replace. You're asking for the impossible. But Amelia wasn't listening to reason. She was focused only on one thing: making Miguel pay for turning her down. Just then, Miguel returned, his calm demeanor unchanged. Approaching Amelia, he said politely, Are you ready for your session, ma'am? Let's begin. But Amelia's anger boiled over. You must be mad if you think I still want your massage, she snapped. You really have some nerve. With that, she slammed the spa door behind her and stormed out, leaving a stunned silence behind. Back at home, Amelia was relentless. She began digging deep, pulling every string, calling in favors, and hunting for any information about Miguel she could use against him. But all her informants came back empty-handed. The only thing they found was a single photo of Miguel, standing side by side with an unidentified man. No background, no details, no leads. Amelia stared at the photo, frustration and curiosity swirling in her mind. There was something about Miguel that didn't add up, and she was determined to find out what. Amelia's digging finally uncovered a breakthrough. The mysterious man, standing beside Miguel in the photo, was none other than Mr. Jackson, the influential CEO of Jack's Restaurant, a well-known hotspot in town. A sly smile spread across Amelia's face. Now this is where I'll find the answers I need, she whispered to herself. Wasting no time, Amelia drafted a carefully worded email to Mr. Jackson requesting a private appointment. Within hours, a reply came through. Ms. Grant, I appreciate your interest. Let's meet this weekend to discuss. Regards, Jackson. Amelia's heart quickened. The weekend meeting was her chance to dig deeper into Miguel's secrets. Meanwhile, Miguel's routine shifted. He didn't show up for work on Saturday or Sunday. Instead, he had a weekend replacement at Blissful Spa. Those days, Miguel went to Jack's restaurant to assist Mr. Jackson in the kitchen. You might be wondering, how did Miguel and Mr. Jackson come to know each other? On that very weekend, Miguel was already busy in the restaurant kitchen, skillfully preparing dishes alongside Mr. Jackson. Miguel was not just a skilled masseur, he was a talented cook, especially when it came to native delicacies. As the afternoon sun filtered through the windows, Miguel arranged a spread of inviting, aromatic dishes. Mr. Jackson leaned in and said, "Miguel, we have an important guest coming soon to sign a big contract. I want you to prepare some of your best native delicacies for the occasion." Miguel nodded with quiet confidence, setting to work with care and precision. Back at her office, Amelia was already on the phone with Mr. Jackson. "I'm on my way now," she said firmly, her mind racing with possibilities. Amelia arrived at Mr. Jackson's restaurant, the elegant ambiance immediately putting her on edge. A sumptuous feast of native delicacies, vibrant, fragrant, and beautifully plated, was already set on the table. Miguel, still in the kitchen, was meticulously arranging the last dishes, his calm focus unmistakable. Mr. Jackson greeted Amelia warmly, leading her to the table. They sat down and began to eat, the rich flavors mingling with the weight of their contract discussion. Just as their conversation was nearing a close, the restaurant door opened, and Miguel appeared, carrying a tray with more native dishes and freshly poured juice. Amelia's spoon slipped from her fingers, clattering softly onto the floor. Her eyes locked onto Miguel, stunned. Miguel paused, meeting her gaze steadily, and said with quiet respect, "Good day, Miss Amelia." From that moment, Amelia felt a wave of discomfort wash over her. Mr. Jackson looked between them and asked, "Do you two know each other?" Before Amelia could respond, she excused herself and hurried to the restroom to collect her thoughts. In the quiet of the restroom, Amelia's breath came in uneven bursts. She touched her face in the mirror and whispered, "I have to calm down. I can't keep falling for him every time I see him." She took a deep breath and continued, "Maybe it's time to drop this bossy attitude. This is my biggest chance. I need to be smart, not stubborn." With renewed resolve, Amelia smoothed her outfit, steadied her nerves, and stepped back into the dining room. What returned to the table was no longer the fiery, demanding CEO, but a calm, collected woman determined to play the game on new terms. Meanwhile, Miguel quietly answered Mr. Jackson's question. "Yes, she's one of my customers at the spa." Mr. Jackson noticed the flicker of confusion and something unspoken in Amelia's eyes when she saw Miguel. But he said nothing, waiting to see how the evening would unfold. Miguel's quiet confidence had already begun to humble Amelia, and she knew this was just the beginning. As their conversation flowed, Amelia found herself struggling to stay focused. The mystery of Miguel gnawed at her. Finally, she couldn't hold back any longer. She glanced at Mr. Jackson and asked, "Mr. Jackson, if you don't mind me asking, how do you know Miguel, and why is he working in your kitchen?" Mr. Jackson smiled warmly, as if recalling a fond memory. "Oh, that. Miguel is actually my nephew, my brother's son. When his parents passed away, I took him in and raised him as my own. He's been with me since he was a child." Amelia nodded slowly, absorbing the revelation. She wanted to ask more, dig deeper, but a part of her hesitated. Maybe some things were better uncovered slowly or not at all. Instead, she settled back in her chair, deciding to watch and wait. As the contract was signed, Amelia stood, smoothing her jacket, her mind swirling with questions and possibilities. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Jackson," she said with a polite smile that barely masked her inner storm. "I look forward to our partnership." Mr. Jackson nodded, warm but unreadable. "Likewise, Miss Grant. Welcome aboard." Amelia turned and left the restaurant with a purposeful stride, but her thoughts were far from settled. Meanwhile, Miguel walked briskly toward Mr. Jackson's office, his face tense. He closed the door behind him, then dropped his head low and spoke in a hushed, desperate tone. "Please, Uncle, you have to keep my identity a secret. I can't let Amelia find out who I really am." Mr. Jackson's expression softened with both sympathy and concern. "Miguel, you've been carrying this burden for a long time. Why all the fear now?" Miguel shook his head, frustration and pain flashing across his features. "It's complicated. If she knew, everything would change. I'm not just some masseur or a cook. There's more to my story, things I want to keep buried." Mr. Jackson sighed deeply. "You're safe here. But Amelia is persistent. I sense she won't stop until she uncovers the truth." Miguel's jaw clenched. "Then I have to be ready." Back in her sleek car, Amelia replayed the evening in her mind. Miguel was more than just a masseur or a weekend cook. His refusal to be bought, his calm strength, it all hinted at a hidden life, a secret waiting to be uncovered. Her instincts screamed at her to dig deeper, to find out everything no matter the cost. Over the next few days, Amelia launched a quiet investigation. She sent her best people to look into Miguel's past, but every trail seemed to end in a wall of silence. No records, no social media, no family tie sex, except the photo with Mr. Jackson, which led nowhere. Amelia's frustration grew, but so did her curiosity and fascination. One evening, as Amelia sat alone in her penthouse apartment overlooking the city lights, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You're closer than you think. Be careful who you trust." Amelia's heart skipped. She quickly scanned the message again, but no sender ID. Was this a warning? Or a threat? The next morning, Miguel was back at Blissful Spa, working as usual, but with a wary edge. He noticed a new face, a tall man in a sharp suit, lingering nearby, watching him with an unreadable expression. Miguel's pulse quickened. He recognized the type someone sent to dig, to pry. At the same time, Amelia decided to confront Miguel directly. She called the spa and requested a private meeting, insisting it was urgent and personal. Miguel agreed but remained cautious. When Amelia arrived, she was no longer the bossy CEO demanding control. Instead, she approached with a calm but determined air. "Miguel," she began, "I know there's more to you than you're letting on, and I want to help." Miguel's eyes narrowed. "Why would you want to help someone you barely know?" Amelia smiled faintly. "Because sometimes the strongest people need someone on their side." Miguel hesitated, then finally relented. He led her to a quiet corner of the spa where no one could overhear. "My real story is dangerous," he said quietly. "There are people who want to find me, people who would hurt anyone close to me." Amelia's heart pounded. "What kind of danger?" Miguel took a deep breath. "I was involved in something years ago, something I'm trying to leave behind. But it's not that simple. The past has a way of catching up." Amelia's mind raced with the possibility. Meanwhile, Mr. Jackson was watching everything unfold from a distance. He knew Amelia's determination, but he also knew Miguel's past could destroy everything they'd built. One evening in his private office, Mr. Jackson made a call. "Get a team on this. Find out everything about Amelia Grant and what she's planning." The story was no longer just about a millionaire CEO and a humble masseur. It was about secrets, lies, and the dangerous dance of power. Amelia sat across from Miguel in the quiet corner of Blissful Spa, her voice lowered but firm. "So, Miguel, what exactly are you running from?" Miguel's eyes darkened, haunted by memories he rarely shared. "I was accused of something I didn't do, a crime that shattered my family's name and my own life." Amelia leaned in, captivated. "Tell me." He hesitated, then continued. "My parents. They were wealthy, influential. But after their deaths, someone wanted to take everything away from me. I was blamed for fraud and betrayal. It was a setup." Amelia's mind raced. "But the spa, Blissful Spa, is that connected?" Miguel nodded slightly. "It's part of my father's legacy. I manage it quietly. No one knows I'm involved." Amelia's heart pounded. This was more than she expected, a hidden empire, a wrongful accusation, and a secret identity. Meanwhile, back at Jack's restaurant, Mr. Jackson watched the unfolding drama with growing concern. He knew the truth about Miguel's past, the betrayal, the pain, and the danger still lurking. One evening, Mr. Jackson met secretly with a shadowy figure, handing over a file marked Urgent Amelia Grant. "We need to keep an eye on her. She's getting too close," he warned. The figure nodded grimly. "Understood. We won't let her expose anything." Back with Amelia, the stakes were rising. Determined to clear Miguel's name and uncover the full truth, she began piecing together clues, shady business deals, mysterious disappearances, and hidden allies. Her obsession grew, but so did the risks. In the final scenes, the truth about Miguel's identity and his connection to Blissful Spa is revealed in a dramatic confrontation that shakes everyone involved. Amelia realizes the depth of Miguel's sacrifice and the forces aligned against him, and she must decide whether to stand with him or walk away forever. Amelia's mind was a whirlwind the day after her meeting with Miguel. She couldn't shake the weight of his words, the false accusations, the hidden legacy, the double life he was living right under everyone's noses. Determined, she spent the morning calling her most trusted investigators and private contacts. "Find out everything you can about Miguel Reyes," she ordered firmly. "Financials, family ties, any skeletons in his closet." The answers came slowly, but there were hints of whispers: an old, wealthy family tied to industries no one talked about openly, a tragic past erased from public records, and a discreet business empire managed behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Miguel returned to Blissful Spa, but the calm facade was shattered. He noticed the new faces, lingering, unfamiliar men and women, quietly asking questions, watching him with cold, calculating eyes. Miguel knew the game was intensifying. The people who had framed him were still out there, and now, someone else was probing into his life. Amelia Grant. One evening, after closing the spa, Miguel received a cryptic message on his phone. "Stop digging, or you'll regret it." His heart raced. This was a warning, but from whom? Back at her penthouse, Amelia sat down with Olivia, her closest confidant. "I don't care about the risks anymore," Amelia confessed. "This isn't just a business deal. Miguel's story, it's bigger than anything I've faced." Olivia looked concerned. "You're playing with fire. People like Miguel don't want their secrets exposed." Amelia's eyes hardened. "Exactly why I have to keep going." The next day, Amelia arranged to meet Mr. Jackson again, pressing him for more answers. Jackson remained guarded, but let slip small details, hints about Miguel's true status, the tragedy that destroyed his family, and the enemies still lurking. "But Amelia," he warned, "some truths come with a price." Amelia's obsession deepened. She started following Miguel discreetly, learning his routines, meeting people who seemed loyal to him, and piecing together a web of alliances and betrayals. One rainy night, Amelia caught a glimpse of Miguel meeting a shadowy figure in a secluded alley. The conversation was tense, filled with warnings and threats. Miguel's voice was low but firm. "I won't run anymore." The shadowy figure smiled coldly. "You'll wish you had." After that night, Miguel's world turned darker. He confided in Amelia that his enemies were planning something that could destroy not just him, but anyone close to him. If you waited till this point. With the danger mounting, Amelia realized she had to make a choice: stand by Miguel and risk everything, or walk away and protect herself. Amelia's relentless digging began to peel back layers that no one had dared to expose, especially the truth about Mr. Jackson. One evening, a shadowy figure reached out to her anonymously. An ex-employee of Mr. Jackson's came forward with a chilling confession. "I once worked for Mr. Jackson," the man whispered over a secure call. "He's a silent and cunning killer. Don't let his calm fool you. Years ago, he hired me to kill Miguel's father. I refused." Amelia's heart pounded as the man warned. "Be very careful digging into him, ma'am. There's more darkness there than you realize." Alone in her study, Amelia whispered to herself, "It's time to stand by Miguel. This is a battle we have to fight together." But a heavy doubt weighed on her. Miguel trusted his uncle deeply. His unwavering faith made it almost impossible to convince him that his own blood could be capable of such betrayal. Still, Amelia pressed on. She hired the best private investigators, the sharpest informants. Days later, her desk was piled high with damning evidence, voice recordings, photographs of Mr. Jackson meeting with known assassins and shadowy figures, documents linking him to covert operations aimed at eliminating Miguel's father. Her phone buzzed. It was Miguel. Her voice softened, no longer the bossy CEO, but a woman deeply invested in the man she had come to care for. "Miguel, I have important information about who really set you up. We need to meet it, can't wait." Miguel's reply was quick and cautious. "Where?" "I'm listening." At a quiet, discreet cafe, Amelia arrived first. Moments later, Miguel appeared, his face etched with tension and curiosity. Without a word, Amelia slid a thick brown envelope across the table to him. "Check what's inside." Miguel's hands trembled slightly as he opened the envelope. Inside were detailed reports, recordings, photographs, undeniable proof that the man he trusted most was behind his family's destruction. His breath caught. His eyes scanned the evidence, disbelief giving way to a painful truth. Amelia reached across the table, her voice steady but gentle. "I know this is hard to believe, Miguel, but I'm here. We can face this together." Miguel looked up, eyes glistening with a mix of betrayal and newfound resolve. "I never thought. My own uncle." The battle lines were drawn. Amelia and Miguel were no longer just CEO and masseur. They were partners against a dangerous enemy, united by trust and a shared fight for justice. Miguel sat back, absorbing the weight of the evidence in his hands. His uncleth man who had raised him, the one he trusted most, was the architect of his family's ruin. The betrayal cut deeper than any wound he'd known. Amelia's steady gaze held him. "We have to act carefully. Jackson is powerful, and he won't go down without a fight." Miguel nodded slowly, determination flickering in his eyes. "Then let's finish this for my parents and for the truth." Over the next few days, the two worked in secret, coordinating with Amelia's trusted investigators to build a comprehensive case. Amelia used her influence to discreetly gather financial records, witness testimonies, and surveillance footage linking Mr. Jackson to illegal activities and the orchestrated downfall of Miguel's family. Miguel, meanwhile, confronted painful memories, visiting old family estates and reconnecting with long-lost allies who had been silenced by Jackson's reach. One evening, as they met in Amelia's office, the air thick with tension, Miguel's phone buzzed. A text message: "You're meddling in things you don't understand. Stop now." The threat was clear, but it only steeled their resolve. Amelia looked at Miguel, her voice firm but compassionate. "We won't back down, but we need a plan that will bring Jackson down without risking innocent lives." Miguel agreed. "We expose him at the shareholders' meeting. That's where his control is weakest." The day arrived. The grand boardroom was filled with powerful figures, unaware the reckoning was at hand. Amelia took the floor, presenting the evidence with calm precision. Photos, voice recordings, financial fraud laid bare before the astonished crowd. Miguel watched as shock rippled through the room, eyes fixed on the man who had once been his guardian, now revealed as a ruthless betrayer. Jackson's facade cracked. His attempts to deny and deflect only made his guilt more apparent. Security moved in as Amelia concluded. "Justice will be served. No one is above the truth." Outside the boardroom, Miguel and Amelia stood side by side, the storm finally lifting. Miguel smiled faintly. "Thank you for believing in me." Amelia reached out. "We make a good team. This is just the beginning." With Jackson exposed and justice underway, their bond deepened, transforming from allies into something more profound. Together, they were ready to face whatever came next, stronger, united, and unbreakable. After the courtroom drama settled and Mr. Jackson was officially charged and brought to justice, Amelia and Miguel found themselves alone in the quiet sanctuary of the blissful spa. The tension that had gripped them for weeks finally began to ease, replaced by a gentle warmth neither expected but both desperately needed. Amelia took a deep breath, her eyes searching Miguel's. "Miguel, I have to tell you something." He looked at her, curiosity softening his features. She continued, voice steady but vulnerable. "From the very first day I set my eyes on you, something inside me changed. I couldn't understand it at first. You were so calm, so unshakable. And even when I was rude and demanding, you never lost your dignity." Miguel smiled gently, his gaze never leaving hers. I noticed you too, Amelia. Beneath that bossy exterior was someone brave and caring. You didn't have to apologize, I understood. She shook her head, eyes glistening. No, I do apologize. For all the times I pushed you away or tried to buy your affection, I was wrong. Miguel reached across the table, taking her hand in his. We all have our walls. But now, I want to walk this journey with you, not as your masseur, but as someone who cares deeply for you. Amelia smiled, the weight of the past lifting with every word. Days later, Miguel stood face to face with the man who had betrayed him most, his uncle, Mr. Jackson, now stripped of power and dignity, standing in a courtroom hallway. Miguel's voice was cold but resolute. You were supposed to protect me to be family. But you are nothing more than a monster, reaping where you did not sow. Mr. Jackson's eyes flickered with rage and shame, but said nothing. Miguel turned and walked away, his heart lighter than it had been in years. Back with Amelia, they stood together watching the sunrise from her penthouse. Miguel squeezed her hand. We survived the darkness. Now it's time to build something new. Amelia nodded, her smile radiant. Together, their love, born from pain and betrayal, had blossomed into hope and strength, a testament to resilience and trust. As the sun rose over the city skyline, bathing Amelia's penthouse in warm golden light, she and Miguel stood side by side, their fingers intertwined. Amelia's voice was soft but filled with conviction. This journey has taught me something important, that true strength isn't about power or money, but about courage, honesty, and standing by those you care for. Miguel nodded, his eyes reflecting a quiet wisdom. And that sometimes the greatest battles we face are not against others, but within ourselves, overcoming fear, mistrust, and pain. Amelia smiled warmly. No matter the darkness that comes our way, love and truth have the power to heal and transform. Miguel added, and never forget those who betray us often do so out of their own weakness. But we choose how we rise. Together they looked out over the city, ready to face whatever the future held, united, resilient, and hopeful. And that's the story of how trust, forgiveness, and love can conquer even the deepest betrayal. Remember, no matter the hardships, stand firm in your truth and never be afraid to fight for what's right, because your strength lies within. Thanks so much for watching this thrilling story of trust, betrayal, and love. What would you do if you found out someone you trusted was hiding a dangerous secret? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Stay tuned, there's much more drama coming your way. The end.